Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Geek Master, where we fixate on all things geek. As usual, I'm your host Cassius Samuels, and today I'm going to talk to you lovely jackasses about the upcoming second season of the CW's Flash. More specifically though, I'm going to give you my list of the top 5 things I can't wait to see happen in the world of the Scarlet Speedster this fall. So strap in and try to keep up. So, starting at the bottom and working our way to the top this time, coming in at number 5 on my list of things I can't wait to see this season from The Flash is the new suit. And I know right off the bat, a lot of you are probably like, what the fuck, the suit? Yeah bro, we know there's a new suit, who cares? All it has is a white logo instead of a red one. To that I would say, you would be 100% correct. But it's not the suit change itself that fascinates me, it's more of the reason that they changed it. A lot of people thought the showrunners Greg Berlanti and company were trying to make the suit look more like the one in the comics, despite the fact that the artist of the new 52 Flash changed the emblem from white to red in the comics to match the show. But this is completely untrue, and I'm going to briefly zoom through why. If you remember from season 1 when we were shown the newspaper depicting the crisis in the future that Eobald Thawne came from when Barry disappeared, we see a picture of Barry while he is still in fact sporting a costume with a white emblem on it. We also see the suit with the white emblem when Barry is confronted by future Barry from Thawne's timeline in the past when he's trying to save his mother as well. And with this being the Flash universe, which is heavily centered around so many situations that involve time travel, it's hard to ignore the huge implications that the suit represents as we start getting into the territory of predestination paradoxes. But as far as paradoxical creativity goes, you really have to admire the writing of the show in that context, as that is some pretty impressively intricate storytelling that is almost on the level of the time travel classic Back to the Future in my eyes. So needless to say, I'm excited to see what other similarities to the original future timeline that Thawne came from that the writers will try to work into this season as time progresses. Coming in at number 4 on my list of things to expect on season 2 of The Flash is the debut of none other than Wally West, who will be played by Kenan Lonsdale. And the reason why this is important to note is because of course everyone knows that this version of Wally West will be reflective of the new 52 version of the character, which is basically uncharted territory as far as DC comic book continuity is concerned, since the new 52 version of Wally was just introduced back in the late first or early second quarter of 2015. So in other words, that basically means that there's little to no source material to derive inspiration from, and that the show writers will basically have a clean slate to work with the character. That clean slate is something that I hope has a positive impact with fans who have an open mind, even though we know all the changes made to this character were due to political pandering for social justice brownie points. But that's a discussion for another day on an entirely other show. This is the Geek Master here, and we don't deal with that bullshit. But in the end, regardless of all the hoopla, I just hope that we get a positive, new take on the character that's entertaining. That's all. I don't think we'll be getting Kid Flash at any point this season, but love it or hate it, I think it's going to be a fun ride regardless. Next up, I have Jay Garrick on my list at number 3 because I think he will play a substantial role this season as we see the multiverse become the foundation of the overall story arc going forward this year. Played by Teddy Sears, I think Jay will be important this season as he becomes a superhero mentor of sorts to Barry, who also influences him to accomplish some more spectacular Speed Force feats that'll blow our minds. Add that to the fact I also think he will play an instrumental part in unraveling and addressing the threat of the new nemesis for Barry this season, whom I will get to shortly. It's hard not to get excited from the anticipation of seeing these speedster icons crossover on live action TV. Moving on to the second to last spot on my list of things I can't wait to see this season on The Flash, we come to the man in blue going by the name of Zoom, which is not to be confused with the Professor Zoom of the comics, as these two characters are vastly different, and since I don't have the time to give you a long explanation on the differences between the two, I'm just going to leave a link in the description below for anybody who needs to get caught up. But all you need to know at this point is that the name Zoom is kind of an interchangeable title amongst the different villains in the Flash universe who have assumed the mantle of the Reverse Flash, and that this guy is basically the next in line to carry the torch. As far as theories go, I tend to subscribe to the idea that Zoom will probably be from one of the alternate timelines or alternate worlds that we will be exposed to during this season of The Flash, but I do not think that this villain will be played by Harrison Wells, aka Tom Cavanaugh, like a lot of other people I'm seeing on the internet seem to think right now, and I think this for two reasons. One, That would be lame, considering that we already saw a whole season with Tom Cavanaugh as the villain, and that would be kind of analogous to beating a dead horse in my mind. Not only would that revelation come off as lazy and apathetic, it would almost surely kill the show's ratings, as people get bored with the same song and dance really quick. So I doubt that show creators, showrunners will want to take that chance. Reason number 2 I believe Tom Cavanaugh will not play the villain this time around is due to the fact that Harrison Wells was never really a character from comic book continuity in the first place. Yes, there was a Harrison Wells in some ancient story from Super Friends back in the Stone Age of comics, but he was never explicitly a villain of the Flash, and the character we saw depicted on the CW's Flash was basically created as a plot device to work in Eobard Thawne as the season antagonist for Season 1. Even with the emergence of characters from alternate timelines, it will be a hard sell for writers to come up with a legit reason that will excuse recycling characters so early in the show's continuity. But as far as the new Zoom for the show is concerned, to me, I'm very excited to see what version of the character we will be getting. Will it be Hunter Zolomon like from the comics? Or will it be some alternate evil Earth 2 version of Barry Allen? Or will it be Barry Allen from the future like in the New 52 comics? It's hard to tell at this point where writers will draw their inspiration for the character from, but similar to the character of Wally West, I can't wait to see how they depict this villain for the Flash and how he will be distinguished differently from the Reverse Flash of Season 1. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the top spot of this countdown. And yes, before some smartass tries to point it out, I'm aware that that statement I just made kind of contradicts itself, but it's all good. Do like my son tells me to do all the time, and just go with it. I feel like I should have a drum roll right now because I've built up so much hype, but I don't have any special effects because this is a dead broke radio production. But anyway, coming in at number 1 on the list of things I can't wait to see you on the second season of Flash is the birth of Vibe. So if you all remember the end of the first season, we saw Eobard Thawne as Harrison Wells tell Cisco that he was affected by the particle accelerator explosion and given the ability to see through the vibrations of the universe, since he was able to retain traces of the timeline where he was murdered by Thawne before Barry reset time. With the second season obviously being structured around alternate timelines and alternate universes, I expect that ability to play a big part in the primary theme of the plot in Season 2. And FYI, for those of you who don't know, Cisco Ramon, aka Vibe, is a completely badass character in the DC comic book universe, and he is among the upper echelon of underrated heroes if you want my honest opinion on the topic. A full-powered Vibe has the ability to create shockwaves of considerable strength that are capable of shattering the planet. In the New 52, he happens to be one of the only characters who can perceive, track, and interact with interdimensional phenomenon innately, which in turn gives him vibrational powers that are a serious threat to speedsters like Barry, who rely on the Speed Force for their special abilities. But that's a dynamic I don't see possibly playing out until much further down the road for the show, so don't get all excited now. So yeah, man, for me, the birth of Vibe on the show will be epic, and I expect him to make a very large contribution to this season of The Flash. Especially since Andrew Kreisberg, who we all know writes for The Flash and The Arrow, also wrote for Vibe's solo comic run in the New 52, so he's already exceptionally familiar with the character and will most likely have no issue whatsoever integrating the character into the show. So basically that means I'm super pumped for this without any questions asked, just bring it on! So there you have it, that's my list of the top 5 things I'm most excited about seeing this year on the upcoming season of The Flash. What do you guys think though? Are you more excited about seeing Mirror Master joining the Flash Rogue Gallery? Or are you geeking out over something else? Leave a comment below because I would love to hear you guys' feedback. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this video to a close. If you found any value in this video, you know the drill. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Facebook at The Geek Master. I try to put out at least one video a week, so if you want to stay up to date with all things geek, subscribe to the channel, you beautiful bitches. I will see you guys next time, and I'm out. Deuces!